So you guys, let me start off with what do you guys exactly do for a living?
Well, I'll start. So I'm an attorney. I am a litigator, and I'm also a mediator and a co-parenting coach. So I help people who are working through their co-parenting relationships to do it in a more effective way. I also own a wellness company. We have a subscription-based monthly box that goes out to individuals, and it's curated for wellness.
Okay.
I love it. So I am a motivational speaker and an entrepreneur coach. So essentially, I go to schools, organizations, programs, clubs, and deliver impactful speeches along with doing different workshops centered around conflict resolution, leadership, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I teach entrepreneurship. So if anybody has an idea and they're looking to grow that idea, they're looking for tips on marketing, I pretty much help them to strategize and put a plan into place so that they can actually grow that idea. And then I also teach, different things within the business in order to help that business grow, social media, systems, operations, things like that.
Okay. So my question for you all, what is it like existing in that realm? What is it like to do your everyday job and balancing the two?
I'll let you start.
So for me, it's fun, number one, and it's challenging. And so I have a good time with what I'm doing. Like I know, there's ebbs and flows in terms of business, in terms of different seasons. But all that does for me is it just presents more challenges for me to figure out new ways to navigate my business, and then forces me to create new relationships, such as how we met, at a networking event. And so for me, in regards to day-to-day stuff, it's always a challenge, but it's one of those different challenges that is a part of, doing business.
Okay.
Yeah, similarly, there are ebbs and flows. So I own my law firm. There are 5 of us who are full-time there. And so part of my business is making sure that the people who are on my payroll get paid because they have bills to pay. And that is like first of the month and the 15th. It's like, all right, we gotta make sure we made our numbers. And so everything that I do with respect to my firm is I want to make sure that my clients have an excellent experience with my firm because I know that that will lead to the financial results that I need for my team to continue to do the work that we do, to do it well, to enjoy doing it, and to be successful. So a lot of what I do is based upon that, making sure we have a really good client experience. And then with Dooney, that a lot of it is also focused on networking and then capital, because you have to get inventory, which is really challenging.
Okay. So how long has it been since both of your businesses officially launched?
So I was, my business was official in 2016, but we weren't on paper until 2020.
So I said it was official.
Right. Right. I had the idea to do it, and then when you have the idea, you don't know if you're going to make money doing it. You don't know about the LLC process, how to set it up, all of the tax information, all of the tax stuff, filing taxes, anything like that. So I started and had the idea in 2016, and I was doing some small things, getting paid under the table. And then in 2020 was when I officially became an actual business entity, registered with the state, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I've been full-time entrepreneur since 2017. My firm started in April 2017, and then Dooney started in April 2022. So.
Okay.
Happy 1-year anniversary.
Yes, that was just about to say that too, because you said 1 year registered a little bit slow. I was like, wait. So you guys, and running these businesses, like you just said, like registering an LLC, getting it started, how did you know that was the next step you had to take for your business? And who did you even have to give you the advice to take those steps?
A lot of the advice that I got early on in my business was from books. I picked up a book. The first book that I ever picked up was Grant Cardone. It was the 10X Rule. In that book, he taught about business and different things like that. Gave you recommendations for different books that you should also read. So I did that, and then he told me the most successful people in this world read about 30 to 40 books every single year. So I went on a mission to read about 30 to 40 books every single year to increase my level of information, and in turn increasing the value of me, because the more value that you have, the more you can deliver, the more you can essentially get compensated from it. So a lot of what I learned early on was from books, was from podcasts, was from interviews, and through trial and error as well, a little bit in the beginning. But that's where I got all of my information from in the very beginning.
Okay.
I had the benefit of being an attorney, so I already was practicing law and had already helped other businesses get going and saw what happened when people forgot to register or they didn't get a trademark and that sort of thing. So I already had like a running checklist, but it's hard. It's really, really hard to keep up with it because it's not a one-time thing. You get these quarterly reports from DC. If you're registered in DC, Maryland, they want your property, like there are things you have to do. So what I did was I knew the first step, and then I got an accounting team that keeps me going with the rest because it's hard. You can easily forget to keep on top of it.
Yeah. So as you guys know, I'm on Miss Melanated podcast. So I officially registered my LLC earlier this year.
Okay.
So thank you. So as I got everything going, the first thing I was even brought to my attention was the IEN number. And then I'm like, what the heck is an IEN number? So going through that process and kind of me learning, okay, I had this podcast since 2020. Okay, how to monopolize the podcast, how to get the business going, and how to hone in the actual marketing tactic of what I want to actually get done. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone who doesn't have a necessary set business, which is like cosmetology, which is like law, which is like business marketing? What do you do for someone who's an overall creative and want to market their creative niche, themselves as a brand?
So that's an interesting question because I think it's kind of layered. I think during COVID, everyone got kind of obsessed with monetizing everything. Mm-hmm. Like, I can be a creator and I can make money, or I can sell this and make money. I think the first thing you need to decide is, why are you trying to do this? Yeah. Because if the motivation is money, you're gonna fall on your face pretty quickly because there are gonna be times where you're not gonna make any money. I think that's the first step. And then the next thing is, who is your target audience and why? Because you can't market to everyone well. And if you're spending your marketing efforts in the wrong places, that's also going to impact your bottom line and you're not going to get anywhere. So if you're a creative, explore your creative side, do things pro bono, get mentors. If you think you like photography, there street meets, like photography meets, you can go there and check it out. If you think you want to paint, try that. I'm not going to go to a doctor who says they're everything under the sun if I need a cardiologist.
Foot doctor, doctor,
exactly.
OBGYN, cardiologist,
right.
Heart doctor.
And even with lawyers, like there are times I look at a lawyer's website and they have everything listed. I'm like, okay, that means you do nothing well. So people will know they can't even go to you for anything in particular if you don't even know what you're marketing.
Okay, a jack of all trades is a master of none.
Absolutely.
A jack of all trades is a master of none.
So I think I agree. I definitely think that you should figure out exactly what it is that you want to specialize in. That's one of the reasons why I didn't get a business coach early on, was because what I kept hearing my mentor say was clarity, 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 clarity. What do you speak about? Mm-hmm. I just speak. You ain't ready yet. Yeah. When I do workshops, what are they on? I just do workshops. You ain't ready yet, right? Like clarity became the biggest thing, and it wasn't until I'm telling you, it dawned on me one day. I have a master's degree in conflict resolution. Why not my thing be conflict resolution? So when I speak, it's about conflict resolution. When I do workshops, it's about conflict resolution. Like, so I found my thing, and the way that I tell people about their business, right, is you got to be successful at one thing. So like, if you think of your business as like a tree, right, you got to be the trunk of your tree has to be one thing, and the trunk of my tree is speaking. Now, on that tree, there's different branches where I can branch off and make other money, right? Yeah. I can do a podcast and make money doing that, but it's not my thing, right? I can do a clothing line, you know what I'm saying? I can branch off and do that because that's easy. I can promote that and doing what I'm doing. I can do digital products. I can do coaching. I can do all that. all of those things are just small branches, right? But they're all centered from this tree of speaking. If you ask me what I do, I'm going to tell you I'm a speaker 100%, 1,000 times over again. You can find out at some point that I also do poetry, that I also have a podcast, all of these things. And then within that tree, you've got to be rooted in something that's foundational.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what does it mean when you guys, or what do you guys feel it means when you guys hear Black in business?
So my wife laughed, right? Because this is, we might go viral on this one, but I made a comment, right? And I said one of the worst ways to begin introducing your business to me is telling me that it's Black owned.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want you to stand on solely, if the first thing that comes to mind about your business is just that it's Black owned, I don't know if you 100% believe it or not.
Yeah.
Like, show me that it works. Like the guys who clean sneakers at the mall and stuff like that, they be like, yeah, you want to support this Black owned business? I'm like, I got a Black owned business. You want to support mine? Order something off my website, right? Like, y'all product works. Your product works. It's great. It's fantastic. It does everything that it's supposed to do. And on top of that, it's Black owned. I love that. Yeah. So there are advantages to being Black owned businesses for sure. I would definitely tell everybody, register your business as a minority business, register your business as a small business, register your business as a woman minority business as well. You have all of those things. So for me, being Black in business, it hasn't affected me or anything like that, I don't think. And it also hasn't propelled me, I don't think. I could be wrong. But I don't know how to quantify that. But it hasn't really had that much of an impact on me. But I understand and always recognize that I am a Black business for sure.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I was talking to someone about that recently. I think it's more important to be a well-established and a good business that is also Black owned. Because sometimes when I hear Black owned business, it's used
as a marketing tactic. But also as an excuse for other things not being the way that they should be. And so I'd rather have an excellent company that is also Black owned. There are lots of benefits because there are government contracts that are going to go to you because you are a DC resident and it's a Black owned business. Things like that, like tap into that, and all of those affinity focused benefits. But I will say that in my business, because I am Black, I can connect with my clients a certain way. They can come to me and I get it. I can relate to Black judges in a way and say, ma'am, get it together. And we're here. So there are benefits within our community, and also there's a level of trust that's established. But when you lead with Black owned, it just, sometimes I think it can gloss over like, oh, I know I was like 1,000 hours late to your hair appointment, but it's Black owned, so it's like, no ma'am, I still need you to be on time. So I think it goes both ways. So why do you guys feel that became a popular statement or a trend to say my business is Black owned?
Because it got money to businesses that were not Black owned. Like by supporting Black owned businesses and having like, oh, look, here's the Black face of this part of our company. Businesses benefit from that, larger business benefit from it. And then we picked up on like, oh yeah, I'm Black owned, marketing ourselves to those opportunities. Yeah. And I think it just kind of took off from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Buy Black, slogan and that era and that time, it definitely helped push a lot of Black businesses, which was great, and I absolutely love it. Like, there's a group that I know in Pittsburgh, like a group of entrepreneurs, they'll all get together and they'll be like, yo, let's mob this Black business. And then all of a sudden, when there's a slow rush, you see like 100 people that's at this business, and they're like, oh my goodness. So I love that, and I definitely support it. So I think it was there to help grow those Black businesses as well, and kind of bring light to different Black businesses.
Okay, so my idea is that a lot of Black businesses, especially in the DMV area, live in a highly competitive environment where it's just like there's different businesses marketing their own ideas or having their own creative niche. And when the boost of the word Black owned business came about, this is from what I've observed. Like you just said, it was easy to hop on or to grab because it became a basis of a support system. My question to you guys is, we've been here, or like Black people have been in this country since the foundation. What do you guys see, or have you guys seen anything that hinders our businesses from interconnecting and working with each other?
You have a whole
Right, there's many layers to that. Right? Just that one alone.
Oh my gosh. I think that when you didn't have it modeled for you and you're trying to make a name for yourself and you know it works, like you know you're an excellent speaker, but maybe you didn't have someone who was an entrepreneur and is successful in your family to pass on these things, like, hey son, if you're gonna be a speaker, make sure you do all these things. We're stumbling, we're scrappy, we had to get it up, ourselves by our bootstraps. And then when another business says, partner with me, sometimes we see, oh, you're gonna benefit from my hard work. Or if I share $1 with you, I lost $1. And we don't always see it as stronger together just because we haven't seen it. Like I can use the law firm example because that's the field I'm in, but the big law firms that make billions of dollars have multiple names. And that's because multiple attorneys came together and built a
massive,
huge firm. When I was trying to find an attorney to partner with, almost every attorney was terrified that by sharing $1, they would lose $1. And by partnering with my partner that I have now, we have more than doubled our revenue and more than doubled our size from just her and I to now their spot. So I think they tore us apart, historically, and separated us, and it worked. And we're still separated, and now we're having to learn what we could have or should have learned a long time ago.
I agree, and I think there's a level of fear that also goes along with that. And the fear of, like she said, if I give you $1, then I lose $1. And I think that our money obviously doesn't circulate in the Black community as often as it should. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I learned too, even coming back to the DMV in 2018. Was I think a lot of people are afraid to share information. Yeah. Like they don't want to give you the game. Like if you're event space, and I'm like, yo, how'd you do that? They're like, nah, you ain't about to take no events from me. Again, that's for taking $1. But what I learned from my mentor was, if you ever feel like you're giving away too much information for free, you probably don't know enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. When he said that, I was like, okay, all right, bet. So what I started to do was give it away for free. My thing is I believe, and I'm competitive in this regard. I believe that I'm such a great speaker that I can teach you everything that I know about speaking, how to get the bag, how to make thousands in an hour speaking, and you still couldn't outdo me because I'm good. I'm really good at what I do, right? So there's no competition for me. I want you to succeed, right? Like there's hundreds of schools out here, colleges out here that have multiple budgets within that one college. Juvenile detention centers, high schools, middle schools, colleges, universities, junior colleges, all of them. I can teach you all of that, and I want to teach you those things. And there's no fear for me because I'm booked and I'm busy, and I'm confident in what it is that I do. I want you to be successful. I mean, there needs to be more people out here that's doing it. Yeah. I'll tell everybody, there needs to be more young Black men who are speakers, who are getting bags out here, and there needs to be more young Black women because they relate to you all. Yeah. They relate to your age. You relate to their age. You relate to the things that they are going through. You're not too far removed from where they are in regards to what they like, what they think about, how they grew up, how they were raised, all of those different things. We have those connection points, but we don't even know how I get into a school, how you get there and do that. Nobody wants to give the information. Nobody wants to give it. And if they do, they're like, oh yeah, $7,000 for the. It's what?
It's so funny you said that because when you said what you speak about, that's what I do workshops on, is conflict resolution, because I'm a mediator. And I was like, that's awesome, Black man doing it. But a couple years ago, I've been like, man, like that's my competition right there. Because it's the only thing I speak on.
So why do you feel like we live in that mindset of competition so much? Because even me, like I just said, as I grow my podcast, sometimes I can meet people that will come to me and go, oh, you did an excellent speech, or you did an excellent thing, or I see how you did this, but they will point out somebody else before they compliment me. They would tell me, oh, I see what that person did, and you just came and did it 2 times better. And I'm like, okay, I accept the compliment, but why did you have to compare me to someone else before you even dished it out to me? You can tell that that's the base mindset of how people are thinking. What do you think creates that base of competition that we have, that we feel as if we share the dollar, we lose the dollar? What do you think is that base that is holding us back?
Real quick, I think that I think it's just what we see, right? Like if you have somebody and you say they want to be a basketball player, they're automatically going to say, you're not going to be LeBron James, you're not going to be Steph Curry, you're not going to be Kevin Durant or Michael Jordan. I think it's just the level of greatness that has just been shown in a particular area. So I feel like if someone is comparing your thing to something else, it's just that thing is like the mantra. Like, this is where you're trying to get to. Like, if you want to start a cell phone company, you're never going to be Verizon. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So you're always going to put, compare someone to what is great. And a lot of times that's what stops people from doing it, is once other people start, you're never going to be Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan got $100 million, you know what I mean, for his podcast. You think you're going to get that sitting on this couch? You're not about to do that, right? So I think it's just that comparison point that makes people do that.
And there's a book called Scarcity that I read years ago. If you haven't read it, you should read it. And it talks about different types of scarcity of time, scarcity of food, resources. And I think that helps inform why we see scarcity the way that we do and why we react the way that we do. And after I read that, it changed my whole perspective, because I used to feel kind of like antsy about sharing information. But now I package it up and I'm like, here, you can have it. Because if you're operating in a spirit of fear, not only are you choosing not to bless people when you can, you're also choosing to not receive a blessing and opportunities. And you're closing out what you do. Like, when people say move in silence, that's stupid. I'm sorry. I think that's really
move
bad.
out.
Because if your closed mouths don't get fed. So if you are telling people I'm a speaker and I go to these institutions, then how do you know if I am sitting on the board of some organization that needs a speaker? Because I'm moving in silence.
Right. I'm just going to move in silence. Yeah. Nobody's going to figure it out. Nobody's going to figure it out unless you tell them. Nobody's going to figure it out. I think that my mentors, they gave me information. They constantly give me motivation today. And when I say mentors, y'all too, mentors don't have to be someone that you can physically touch. Yeah. I have mentors that don't even know they're my mentors, because I read their books, I listen to their interviews, I listen to their podcasts all day long, and I'm super locked in on it. And they're like, you need to do this, you need to have systems, you need to have a funnel, you need to get repeat and referral business, you need to do this, you need to do that. My mentors, they told me all of that, and then I just went and I learned it. I went to YouTube University and Google University and got my PhD.
And that's the only way you could do it. My thing is, if we live in an era, that's you just said, YouTube University and Google, do you feel as if like social media is creating failure in people businesses as people try to monopolize off of like that social media niche?
I wouldn't say that social media is creating failure. For me, social media has created an outlet and a marketing tool for me to reach the masses that I normally wouldn't be able to reach. If you use anything the wrong way, it'll definitely create failure, right? A gun can protect you, but it can also kill you. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question.
Okay.
Let me rephrase my question. I'm saying in a sense of without the lack of mentorship. I see that these days a lot of people, this is from my observance, are creating businesses, like you just said, try to capitalize off of like social media or create a own personal brand for their own self. My question is, do you feel as if, or have you guys seen that social media creates a lot of failures or hyped up dreams that people can't achieve because they have that lack of mentorship?
So I think, I'm going to say it this way. I think social media can definitely provide a facade for what somebody can ultimately deliver, right? Like you can tell me that you're the greatest speaker or whatever. When I book you for it, now I need you to produce something, right?
Yeah.
So can you produce the way that you're telling me that you can actually produce? And I think with people creating brands and stuff like that on social media, number one, you got to make sure that your brand aligns with what it is that you ultimately want to do.
Yeah.
So don't go on there and create this brand centered around being in a relationship when you desire to be single. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never want to be in a relationship, but you out here talking about all of this relationship stuff. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, choose to believe in whatever it is that you choose to believe in. But like with social media, I think at the end of the day, you still got to prove that you can actually do what it is that you're marketing, that you're promoting, that you can do.
Okay.
Yeah, social media, I think can, I think all it does is provide a magnifying glass on what's going on outside of social media. Like, I feel connected to businesses that I'll probably never patron because I get to see their page. And so similarly, I can feel very proximate to the success of a similar business or someone who has a business that I've been thinking about and say, oh, if they did it, then I can do it. And because social media is a highlight reel, you don't get to see all the things that they did to get there. And so you're like, okay, I'm going to create my IG page. You create it, you start posting, and something happens and you don't use your social media in the best way to respond to maybe bad PR or a disgruntled client. And now it seems like, you've had this massive failure, but this other company they dealt with the same things, you just didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's just how you use social media, how you view it, realizing it's a tool. It is not the marker of success. Even if you hit 1 million followers, like, it doesn't mean that your business, your company itself is successful. And like you said, we've seen lots of businesses crash and burn because of an improper use of social media. Many times.
So do you all know examples of successful Black businesses that have overcome the obstacles that we were just talking about and achieved success?
Yeah, I think a lot of my mentors' businesses have overcome those obstacles, and I think they've overcome those obstacles by being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Is essentially what it is. When you're what I talked about this morning on my coaching class was about storytelling, and I think that you can sell a lot of yourself and a lot of your product just simply through storytelling and being authentic. People don't care what you did. They care how you did it, right? People don't care that you got married. The question that they ask you is, how did you know he was the one?
Mm-hmm.
How did you know she was the one? Was there any clues, right? They don't care that you wrote the book. They care about, how did you write it? Did you self-publish? Did you write? Most likely, people who really care about you, they're going to ask you those questions in terms of how you did certain things. So I would say, a lot of my mentors, they became successful through the pandemic and wasn't affected by the pandemic and isn't being affected by the recession and stuff like that through authenticity, but also more importantly through consistency. Mm-hmm. If you're consistent, all of that other stuff, all of the fear and all of that stuff will definitely leave, and it won't affect you as much because you're just consistent.
Yeah, I know so many successful Black businesses, from nail artists and hairstylists to lawyers and people who own physicians' practices. I mean, just running the gauntlet. We are here, especially in this area. If you have a need, you can most likely find a Black person who's doing it and doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to realize that starting the LLC is not the end of being a Black-owned business. having a business is a relationship. It's like a marriage. It's going to have peaks and valleys, and you have to have your own personal like mission statement, your why, and also all the other things in place like mentorship and tools and everything else, so you can get through those times and continue to be successful. Because these big companies that we think are successful, if you look at their financial statements, if it was your financial statement, you'd probably be freaking out. Like they are operating with tons of debt. They're hitting the red every quarter, you know. But when we see it sometimes, maybe you're in the red $100, like, oh, my business failed. Let somebody say it's your little t-shirt company. Now your feelings, but realizing that this is just a part of it. Yeah. And it's kind of like raising a kid too. You know, they're gonna do things you don't like, and you're gonna work really hard, and sometimes you're gonna be super proud, and other times you're just gonna be really tired. And you just have to decide that this is what you want to do.
Okay. And you guys, thank you for that, because that was like very helpful to even me, like just understanding that perspective. But what do you guys feel like you guys learned most from your mentors? People that have taught you, done it before you, and how did you guys use what they taught you to navigate on your own?
One of my mentors is in real estate. He does like multi-million-dollar developments in DC. He looks nothing like me. He has nothing similar to my background. But he has been such a valuable mentor because of his background. He knows the power of the word and speaking to people in a particular way so that you can convince them to invest in you. Mm-hmm. So I've sat in on his investor business calls where he's like, guys, I need $500,000 by the end of this call. And he gets it because he's able to tell a story. Like, if this little shack is going to be a multi-million-dollar, multi-unit, and people believe him. And so, and thankfully he's always successful. He's phenomenal. He's amazing. But I've learned to hone that skill in when I'm marketing myself, when I'm interviewing potential staff members, like, no, you also want to be here, when I'm talking to a judge, like, you want to believe my side. Yeah. And when I'm speaking like on social media and things, how you present yourself means so much. And that's probably like one of the most valuable things I got from him. And then also when I was flipping my own property, he's like, just because it looks pretty doesn't mean it matters. I'm like, oh.
That's good.
Okay. So when I was looking at all these finishes I wanted to spend all this money on, he's like, do you really think a buyer is going to spend more money because of that? I was like, oh, he gets a gold star from me in terms of mentorship. He's great.
I love that story. I think what my mentors have taught me is R&R business is what creates millionaires. Repeat and referral business. So they taught me how to, because I've seen a lot of people be able to get a customer or a client at one time, but difficult to get them again, and even more difficult to get other recommendations from them, referrals essentially. Mm-hmm. So where I succeed is I've been able to master repeat and referral business, but then I've also been able to continue to get new business by putting in systems. So what my mentors, they put in SOPs, standard operating procedures, and use a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. If you have those, you can get repeat and referral business, and that's how you become a millionaire. You're not going to become a millionaire by getting a bunch of new business. Apple is the multi-billion-dollar because they came out with the iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I guarantee you, everybody in here, if they got an iPhone, has had at least 7 of them joints. I guarantee you keep going back. And you say you're not going to get it too. I'm not getting that new iPhone. And then they slow yours down just a little bit. Man, let me go to the store real quick and get this new one. And boom, you happy. And now your cycle is you paying that $40-something a month again to lease it for a whole nother 14 months when you was just about 1 month done on your last one. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So repeat and referral business and systems is what they taught me.
And that was a good example of that because you have the watch and the AirPods on your hip.
Listen,
and
a MacBook and an iPad and an iMac and 2 iPhones in my pocket.
But they've mastered that seamlessness between you need a phone. Oh, well, now you need something like a tablet. So they've created a seamless a way to interact with all of their different branches of their tree. Mm-hmm. And when you do that within your business, you get to keep more business. Yeah. So I'm an attorney, but I'm also a mediator. But I also co-parent coach. Mm-hmm. I also speak on conflict resolution. So you're here. Why did you leave me? Just
yeah.
I got everything for you. You ain't gotta go nowhere. I got you. And if I don't got you, I know somebody that got you.
Exactly.
And then I'm getting the affiliate from them. Once you sign up, I'm still getting.
No, that's really You're putting people on game with that mindset because I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people don't get, that rinse and repeat type aspect. You can, like you just said, you can get 1 million new clients, but to hold a base with one and keep somebody as a repeat customer is how you even grow. Because those people that I've learned, maybe it's because I'm in an era of social media, a lot of people underestimate person-to-person marketing. Sure. It's like door-to-door marketing, doing that groundwork and just talking to people. I feel like a lot of people underestimate how far it can get you.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? One of my mentors, the best time to sell someone something? Right after they just bought something.
They feeling spendy.
Because they're in a spending spirit.
Yeah, they're feeling spendy.
Already, they're in a spending spirit. So and that's how you create your sales funnel, right? You sell them one thing. So like I created my workbook, right? I created my workbook. It's $27. The first 100 people will get it for $13.50, right? Within that $13.50, I'm also going to tell you, hey, look, I'm going to give you a one-time offer, and I'm going to say you can get into my coaching program absolutely free for 1 month, just for getting this book for $13.50. But you got to subscribe. Okay, they subscribe, they stay in. After that, it's $87 a month. So now I'm pulling in more money. Right after that is done, I'm also going to send you an email and say, hey, thank you so much for buying the workbook, for signing up for the Winner Circle. Also, what I want you to do is I want you to take advantage of these different products that we have. One of the things that we have is we have this workshop. It's going to teach you exactly how I've been able to build my speaking business. If you desire to be a speaker, it's only $47 right now. Ooh, man, it's usually $297. Oh, dang, I might as well go ahead and grab that thing too, right? I'm going to grab that. Hey, look, lastly, before I let you go, because you bought these, I'm going to give you some of this merch. It's going to be 60% off. Here's a coupon code. You can go ahead and grab that. So now you bought my $13.50 digital copybook. You're going to be in the Winner Circle for $87. I'm getting you $47 on my workshop. And I'm getting you for another $30 on my t-shirts.
And, but that is good though. Even though you see the amount that somebody spends, one thing I've learned that information is always priceless. And people don't know what to do with the proper information and how to funnel it and fuel it. Because what you just said, you hit all the points of how someone can spin in the business and how someone just gained in that. And just how someone just gained the information that somebody can gain, even if they just spent $200 to $250. Yeah, they might be in the spending mood, but some people have gained a great meal. I sell plates at the studio. Some people can get a great meal. Some people can get great information, exposure, and those things trickle down. I feel like what is the biggest stalemate and kind of growing up youth. I'm 24, so I always market a younger audience. One thing that I found very difficult in working with young entrepreneurs is the fact that every time you say something costs, they're afraid to put out the dollar. But they don't see the longevity of how that can push the business or push their mental. Like you said, if you have a Winner Circle book, yeah, you might not be able to talk to the person in the Winner Circle every day, but he gave you the guideline of how the Winner Circle works. And he gave you the game of how he get it. You can't get you got his recipe, you can't get his sauce. But at the end of the you got his recipe, you can't get his sauce, but you have to figure out a way how to make your own sauce. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of young entrepreneurs that I have realized are failing to get. And this is why I do Miss Melanated podcast. It's a Black networking hub to hone in the fact that we can create money off of each other only if we work together.
Meek Mill says scared money don't make money.
Scared money don't make money. There's a certain amount of investment that you have to make in yourself. And like you just said, once somebody falls into the red, it's like, oh no, I failed. Everything is bad. Everything is crumbled down. But you don't realize there's success and failure. Even if 0 people showed up, you showed up. And I feel like we live in a scrutiny of this time that I've realized that people are afraid to fail. And the thing is, you will never succeed. Like I said, I'm going to continue saying, I live in a base of, or I network with tons and tons of young entrepreneurs. And to even get them on my show, because I always have older mentors, to even get them on my show to speak free game to some people. And of course they would tune in to Miss Melanated podcast, but they fail to continue to network. It's not always about what you know, it's about who you know. And sometimes somebody can give you the $1 million game. They might not give you how they exactly did it. Like you just said, I can give you as much free information as possible. How do you hone in that information and make it your own then? And the one thing that I even brought this podcast and this panel together is just to understand, I feel like a lot of Black entrepreneurs, Black creatives are unconfident in coming out and actually taking their own place in the world. That's why they hide behind the sentences as Black owned. Because Black owned won't save you everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's all about what you're going to do and how you're going to put your name into this world. It doesn't matter if you're Black. Can you deliver? Mm-hmm. If somebody gives you the product, can you get it done?
If somebody gives you the bag, can you get it done?
Yes, can you flip it? Can you flip it? That's the question. And it's like, learning from you guys, getting game from you guys. I hope you guys are getting game from them. What advice would you give to a young entrepreneur that's right behind you, that has watched you grow on social media, that has watched Dooney Life, that has watched you as a DMV lawyer, that has watched you as a motivational coach? What advice would you give to Black creatives trying to hone in on their own niche and grow with confidence?
I think you're going to pay for it one or two ways. You're going to have to pay for it with your time or pay for it with your dollars. Mm-hmm. If you want the information, you're either going to pay somebody like myself to teach you, or you're going to spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours reading, listening, and studying. If you want the fast track, you can go get a coach. Mm-hmm. If you want to take your time with it, you can go and learn it on your own. So I don't think there's any problem either way. But just know that one way is going to take you a little longer. For me, I didn't have the money at the time, or I did have the money. I was being stupid with the money, honestly. Right, and just doing the wrong things. So I paid for it with my time. So I spent hours. I'm talking about getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm talking about going to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. I'm talking about doing any and everything that I can possibly do in order to get the information that I need. So whatever it is that you have to do to get the information, become an expert. I'm telling you, grow your tree trunk, yo. Grow your tree trunk and continue to grow that tree trunk. Don't worry about the branches. The branches are going to grow when the tree trunk grows. Don't worry about any of that. Pay for it with your time or pay for it with your money. And then you need accountability. A lot of people don't voice things out to other people because there's no accountability in it. Mm-hmm. If I never tell you that I want to start a podcast, if I never started, it doesn't. The only person that knows I didn't do it was me. But once I come up to you and I go, hey man, I want to start this podcast, particularly if you come to me, but like how I am, I'm like, yo, where's that podcast at? You do that yet? What you need? You need some help doing that joint? Like, you need some ideas? Yo, here's how, like, what you need. Like, right? I'm one of those people that's going to be on you. So for young entrepreneurs, if you have a business, if you have a brand, whatever it might be, pay for it with time, pay for it with money, and then get yourself some accountability partners. It is a lonely walk, walking that bad boy alone. And that's why I created my high-level entrepreneurs group, because it's lonely. It is super lonely, and not many people you can talk to when you say, yeah, I just got a $30,000 school contract, and then they not go, dang, dog, I ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, now they mad because they're not getting business. But when you have people that are all operating in, together, and we're all successful together, it doesn't feel like competition when I tell you, when we're talking about numbers.
So entrepreneurship, I think the definition, if I recall correctly, means that you're taking on additional risk as a business owner. And entrepreneurship seems very glamorous because it's like infinite money, infinite status, right? Where the alternative is you get a 9-to-5 and someone else takes on that additional risk by paying you to do a job, paying overhead. And if you're choosing to be an entrepreneur, you're choosing the harder path. It is not the easier path. You're going to put in sometimes 2x, 3 times as much time, money, and energy. And if you're doing the harder thing, that's like NFL versus like a rec league, the NFL players are getting up in the morning and they are doing strength and conditioning. They're practicing all the time. If you are not ready to do that, that's fine. Take the time to learn more about what you're interested in while you work and do something else to make sure you're able to sustain yourself. But when you choose to dive in 100%, know that it's 100%, and sometimes it'll be 100% of your time. It means you may have to sacrifice, whether it's can't go to brunch because you got to go to this mentorship event, or I can't go to brunch because I need that money to pay for this workbook, and really just choosing what's important. Because when I started my firm, I was so broke. Like I remember I didn't even have money for ink for my printer, and I needed to print something. So one of my friends had to go to Best Buy for me and bring me some ink. Like that's how broke I was. So if you told me to give you money for a mentor, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But just like you said, I just spent the time researching and finding the free resources to make sure I did it correctly. And then over time, now I'm in a place like, okay, I can pay an accountant, I can pay a PR person, I can pay these people who do the things that once I had to do because I just couldn't afford to do it. But being an entrepreneur is not a part-time thing. It is not fun and glamorous. It is a lot of hard work. And if you're committed to it, then you're going to be successful as long as you know your why and you're willing to go through those hard times. Because there were times when I first started my firm where like, I didn't make any money. Like no one was coming to me. No one was paying me to do anything. You got to keep going. I want to say I'm not going to be a lawyer anymore.
So my question to you guys now is, how do you guys feel, or what do you guys think are ideas that can get young entrepreneurs to collab with each other and continuously grow together?
There are events in this area that are pretty great to help bring people together. So once you tap into like the entrepreneur circle, you see that there are other entrepreneurs who are looking for camaraderie and other similarly minded people. And so I think like Afro Soca is one event that comes to mind where it's tons of Black owned businesses who all are eager to talk about what they do and learn about what you do. So just going to different events, I think is a good place to start.
I agree. I would second that completely. Just other networking events, finding them on social media, Facebook groups are really good. Instagram is another really good place to find different entrepreneur groups, entrepreneur network, networking events where you can actually grow and connect with the right people who desire to grow and connect with you.
All right. You guys, I'm not going to take any more of your time. Thank you all so much for answering my questions and joining me on this panel.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
If they have any questions, I wouldn't mind taking.
Yeah, I was just about to open the floor.
Yeah. How do you feel about your podcast so far?
I love it. I feel like just going out and meeting people, seeing people, talking to people really opened up my mind past like, when you take that step, I don't know how to describe it. When you take that step past anything that you can, it's yours. I don't know how to describe it. I'm about to cry and talking about it. Like, I love it.
That's beautiful.
So emotional right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like, it started to become a part of me that I never knew I needed. And it's like, one thing I've realized is that a lot of Black families, a lot of Black people are so hurt. They are so lost. And it gets mixed into their own financial system. Like, they can have so much talent, so much mindset, so much drive, so much goals. And it's like, after you have a conversation with them on a podcast, you cut off the cameras and you're like, all right, let me just rap to you real quick. You realize, like, you have a niche. You can go somewhere with it. You can like monetize yourself off of this. What is holding you back? What is holding your business back? What is holding the growth? Like people say, it can be something that just started in its consistency, but then you realize it's just lack of community, lack of support, lack of others seeing the bigger vision. And you can't wait for people to see the bigger vision for you to continue your own. But one thing that made me continue this podcast and made me drive for this podcast is that Black networking hubs are needed. They're so needed. They're so important because maybe someone might downplay your stuff. Maybe someone might underestimate your business, but they always underestimate before they overcompensate. And that's the line that people need to cross. The second that you are underestimated, you got to learn how to go harder. And talking to so many businesses, so many creatives, so many brands makes me hold it in every day. Like, you guys see, I'm crying because of it. It makes me hold it in every day. Never underestimate what Black can do. Never underestimate what drive can do. Never underestimate what open mindsets can do. Because once it grows, like you said, it will be Nike. Why? What's the conversation? It will be Nike. It will be Apple. It will be everything you required it to be. Just because you said it wouldn't be anything else. And I love that for us. I love that for us. Me being so young, talking to so many people always even say to me, I remember even when we met at our networking meeting, it was like, oh, you're 24? And I'm like, yes, I'm 24. And I get it all the time because it's like, so many people are teaching me so much game. I feel like success is not success unless the people that you love is on the other side of that success with you. I love my people. I love what it means to be Black. I love what it means to be embodied Black. And I like to protect Black. But the first thing that I feel like the Black mindset has to do is get your funds up, get your guns up. And people think it means violence when you say get your guns up. Read. Get the books. Get everything that you need to do to defend what it means. So that way you don't have the stigma of just being that Black-owned business. No, drop the Black-owned, I'm a business. Nice to meet you. Drop whatever stigma it is that people have when they underestimate your craft. And that's what the podcast has taught me. That's what Growing Black Network has taught me. And that's what even hosting events has taught me, to continuously grow, go harder, grow, and just network, just enjoy, just be, And I wanted to ask, what is your question for me?
That was actually along the lines of my question. So you just answered it. But it's beautiful to see what you're doing. Thank you for bringing us.
You guys, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. And thank you so much for joining the panel. Y'all, this is Miss Melanated Black in Business panel. Y'all, you already know what it is. Every other Monday on all podcasting platforms.